Okay, in this video I'm going to walk through on how to set up a cadence that can be used by one of the users in a user role. And to do that, you need to set up a data form that allows that user role access to the data form, which in a sense will be set with the cadence that's associated with that data form. So the first step is to create that data form. So if you come over here to Controls, Templates, Data, Data Forms, here you have an option again to create new data forms. So you've gone through this on the previous steps, but this time instead of selecting a workspace, if you're using workspaces, don't select the workspace. This will allow you to have an option to apply a user role to your data form. I've already set one up here, but you would just name it. Do not select a workspace. Come in here to the actual data form, and you will see over here on the right hand side, role access. So I've already configured all this, so this is all good to go. And I'm just gonna add the role, sales user role here. So this means that any user within this role can add leads to this data form. And if we attach a cadence to this, we don't wanna have to go in and build a cadence for every single user. We wanna set up one cadence associated with this data form, and then each user's personalized information, their email account, their VoIP line, their signature, all the personalization would be, customized to their settings within their actual user account. So to do that, so now that we have the data form set up and we've applied it to the role, we need to go set up a cadence with this data form. So I'm going to come over here to marketing and click on Cadences. And when you create a new cadence, you need to apply it to a data form. So you're going to apply it to that new cadence or that new data form that's associated with that user role. Name it and hit create. I've already done that. So I'm going to go into that cadence, and I've set up just two simple steps. First step is email. Second step is call stage. Now all the questions such as what email account, what VoIP line, all that's my information. So all of Bruce's information is being configured here. However, since this cadence is associated with a data form that's associated with a user role, the system knows to use, if a lead comes in for one of the child users or a user within that role, the system knows to use their information based on their default settings inside the data form. So where do you set that? So the user can set that, or you can set this for the user. And then where do you get access to that? Is you're going to come over here to users. And so I have a user already set up here in the sales user role. So I'm going to go into this user. And so again, the user can do it themselves, or you can do it for them. But you're going to come over here just like you did on your side. We're going to go in here to Controls. We're going to go to Templates. We're going to go to Data, and we're going to go to Data Forms. So here you'll see a data form, that cadence data form for users. That's the one I set up inside of Bruce's account as an admin. I applied that user role. So this child user in that role that has access to it cannot delete this form. However, they can access it. And they simply either click the edit icon or the name here. And once again, they can see all the fields that are associated with this. They can actually use this form on their own internal websites or external websites, and the system will map appropriately for them. But where the settings that are important for cadences is going to be right here. So you'll notice these new settings that appear. This only appears inside the user role that's associated with the data form. You can have multiple roles associated with the data form. So as this user, I'm going to want to select my default VoIP line and my default email account. So these are the default settings. So now the system knows if this user adds a lead to this data form, it will trigger the exact same sequence. However, it will use these default settings opposed to Bruce's settings on the master cadence. So if I were to come over here to leads, let me go ahead and add a lead. So same thing, when you add leads, I can click add lead, and I have access to that data form because this user is associated with that role. So I'm selecting this data form, and I'm going to put in a lead real quick, one that has a alias, so I can show you that it brands to Montoya at Wayne Industries.live, and the phone number, we don't have a phone sequence on this one, so I'll just put a random number in here, and we'll do, oops, Wayne Industries. So when I hit create here, doing the same thing, it's creating the lead, it's just setting up the cadence, it's creating the sequence, and it's going to start firing that cadence over. And so if I go into the lead, I will see that I'm in that stage right now. It's just waiting to fire. So I'll go ahead and pause the video here and come back to this sequence whenever it fires. Okay, that sequence has fired. So as you can see, this email was sent out to Renee. I'm using the data form that's associated with Bruce's account. I'm using the cadence that was set up with Bruce's account, but because the data form is associated with this user role and gave access to this user role for this user, I can add my own leads to this data form. That'll trigger the responses out and use my signature, right? So here's my signature here that I had in my email settings. It also email that came through, I just have an alias here so you can see for testing, but it's sending to Renee, Lucius Fox. So I'm able to leverage what is set up in the admin account or in your system admin account when you set user roles to your data forms. And as long as the user sets their default settings under controls, templates, data forms, and again, inside here, you have your default settings for your VoIP line and your email account. The system will know that this lead came in for this user, and this user, we need to use these settings for the sequences that have been created inside that cadence. So you can set up as many user roles as you like associated with your cadences, and of course create as many cadences as you like. And when as this user comes in and adds a lead, either through add lead or import, or even using that same data form on my individual assets, that'll automatically trigger these sequences. And again, so here in this call stage, I can come into my leads, I can filter by calls only, and there's my lead. I can put them in a call queue, and I can come in and all the stats, everything is tracking specifically for this child user, leveraging the same data form and cadence that you set up in the admin account.